The bundle of rights is a fundamental concept for the national portion of the real estate exam because it defines the legal relationship between an owner and their property. When you think about property ownership on the exam, you should not view it as a single unit, but rather as a bundle of sticks where each stick represents a specific legal right that can be kept or given away individually. The primary mnemonic you must memorize for this topic is the acronym DEEP-C, which stands for disposition, enjoyment, exclusion, possession, and control. Starting with disposition, this is the right that allows a property owner to sell, will, transfer, or otherwise encumber the property. On the exam, you might see a question asking which right is being exercised when an owner grants an easement or places a lien on their home. The answer is disposition because the owner is effectively transferring a portion of their legal interest. A common trap is thinking disposition only applies to a total sale of the property, but it also applies to any transfer of interest. The right of enjoyment focuses on the owner's ability to use the property in any legal manner without interference from third parties claiming a superior title. Exam questions often try to trick students by confusing the right of enjoyment with the right of possession. Remember that enjoyment specifically protects the owner against title claims and allows for the quiet use of the premises. If a neighbor's loud music is the issue, that is usually a nuisance law matter. But if a former owner claims they still own the land, that is a direct challenge to your right of enjoyment. Exclusion gives the owner the power to keep others from entering or using the property. This is a very powerful right, but you must look out for exam questions that involve legal exceptions like police warrants or tax assessors. Even though you have the right of exclusion, it is not absolute against the government's power. Possession is the most straightforward right, meaning the right to physically occupy the premises. However, the exam will test your understanding of how this right can be separated from the others. For example, in a lease agreement, the landlord retains the right of disposition and control, but gives the right of possession to the tenant. This separation of the bundle is a high-probability exam topic because it tests whether you understand that ownership and occupancy are not always the same thing. Control is the right to determine how the property will be used within the framework of the law. You might decide to turn your basement into a home office or paint your house bright blue. The exam trick here is that control is always subject to government powers like zoning and building codes. If a question asks if an owner's right of control allows them to build a skyscraper in a residential zone, the answer is no, because private rights are always balanced against public interests. One of the most important things to remember for the national exam is that these rights are divisible. You can sell the air rights or mineral rights while keeping the surface rights. This is often referred to as the lateral severance of the bundle. If you see a question about a farmer selling the rights to the oil beneath his land while keeping the farm, he is exercising his right of disposition to sever a specific part of his bundle of rights. Finally, be careful with the word title versus deed. The bundle of rights is what you actually own, while the deed is the physical document that transfers those rights. Understanding that the bundle represents the legal interest will help you navigate complex questions about estates and land use controls. If you can memorize the 5 letters in the DEEP-C mnemonic and understand that each right can be treated as a separate stick, you will be well prepared for any question involving the definition of real property ownership. These concepts are the foundation for more advanced topics like types of estates and encumbrances, so mastering them now is essential for your success on the national exam.